Israel has announced that it launched a preemptive strike on Iran. The Israeli Broadcasting Authority reported that the strikes were carried out in coordination with the United States. Israel and the U.S. conducted airstrikes on Iran, targeting both military and civilian defense sites. In response, Iran's Revolutionary Guard announced that it targeted American bases in Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain. What's happening is serious. In just 1 month, the U.S. helped capture Maduro, the president of Venezuela. In only 2 months, they went after one of the world's most wanted cartel leaders. And now, before the 3rd month has even ended, they've launched bombings against Iran. This conflict, which has lasted for decades, has always been a secret war between them, full of spies and threats, but now it has turned into a full military confrontation. This morning, the U.S. and Israel launched what they called Epic Fury, an operation involving the bombardment of more than 500 strategic locations inside Iran. Since early morning, many voices have been calling on Iranian citizens to rise up against their government. Naturally, Iran responded. It launched attacks on American military bases in neighboring countries. For years, tensions had been building, and now missiles have been fired toward U.S. military installations in Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait. Beyond that, Iran is reportedly planning a move that could paralyze the region's economy and potentially trigger a global economic crisis. In this video, I will explain the conflict clearly, from its origins to how we reached this moment, so please watch until the end. And if you found value in it, don't forget to leave a like and a meaningful comment. Let's start with this morning. Without warning, the U.S. and Israel began bombing Iran. Iran is expected to retaliate further. But the key question is, why now? To understand this, we must go back decades. Iran began developing a nuclear program, claiming it was solely for energy production. However, the United States never trusted this explanation, arguing that the real goal was to acquire enough capability to build a nuclear bomb. For years, the U.S. tried to stop the program through severe economic sanctions, cyber attacks, and sabotage, including the famous virus used to disrupt Iran's uranium centrifuges. There were multiple diplomatic attempts, but trust was always missing, and negotiations repeatedly failed. The situation became like a pressure cooker, with everyone waiting for it to explode. After the events of October 2023 and Israel's harsh response in Palestine, Iran increased its support for Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. The conflict stopped being purely political. Last June, Iran and Israel engaged in 12 consecutive days of open warfare. Israel launched massive strikes, causing thousands of casualties. Iran responded with hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones, targeting key Israeli locations. Although it stopped after 12 days, it broke a major taboo. They had never confronted each other directly like that before. Diplomacy once seemed possible. In 2013, in Geneva, the U.S., Russia, China, France, the UK, Germany, and Iran agreed that Iran would limit its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief and the unfreezing of assets. However, in 2018, the agreement collapsed. The U.S. argued that it did not address Iran's ballistic missile program. Iran then resumed accelerating its nuclear activities, leading to renewed sanctions. Just days before these explosions, indirect talks were held in Geneva through Omani mediation. But U.S. demands became stricter. Iran would have to completely halt its nuclear program and surrender its enriched uranium. Iran refused. No agreement was reached. The very next morning, the bombing began. The Operation Epic Fury targeted military bases, the Konarak Naval Base, nuclear infrastructure, and reportedly even the Central Authority complex near the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei. There are reports suggesting severe damage. The presidential office was also targeted. According to statements from Trump and Netanyahu, the objective is no longer just slowing Iran's nuclear program, it is regime change. They want new leadership in Iran. Trump even called on Iranian citizens to rise up. The strikes reportedly caused around 200 casualties. One missile allegedly hit a primary school in Minab. Iran's retaliation was massive. This time, not only against Israel, but against American military bases across the region. Missiles reached the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait. One person reportedly died in the UAE due to falling debris. Iran is also threatening to block the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical oil transit routes in the world. If this passage is closed, global oil prices could skyrocket. Fuel prices would rise worldwide, affecting transportation, logistics, and everyday goods. Now, the big question: what happens next? First, since several countries were struck on their territory, they may respond, potentially expanding the conflict. Second, if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, global oil prices could surge globally.